so many products, and we see this with our regular clients, but also we've seen this huge uptick in like young girls, teenagers wanting to do all of this trendy skincare routines, and it's starting to create problems down the road for them because it's not what they need. And that alone is something that is going to be incredibly powerful. Like any salon owner that's watching this, if you have skincare in your salon, bringing this on and starting to really incorporate not just herbalism, right? That is amazing, but the philosophies of really working with where you're at right now, where your client is right now. Hello, and welcome back to the Impactful Salon Owners Podcast. I'm your hostess, Jacquelyn Rodriguez, and today we have a very special guest. I swear I feel like I say that all the time because I just get to have such amazing people on the podcast. But you, Justine, have such an amazing business, Botnia Skincare. And I have just loved, first off, watching everything that you've been doing, but also testing out the products and feeling everything in the salon. I know that my esthetician absolutely loves it. So I cannot wait to dive into all of the good questions that I have. So welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a joy to be here. And thank you to everyone who's listening to this podcast because what you're doing is so cool and important. And I just couldn't be more excited to be here.
Thank you. Well, tell everyone who you are and what your company is.
So my name is Justine, like you said, and I am an esthetician. I, started my career back in 2001. So I've been doing this for some time. And what I found from working inside the treatment room was that I was meeting my guest's skin with so many good intentions and just not having the results I wanted for their skin. And I think, really most skincare when I got down to it was really derived around this idea of general skin. Mm-hmm. And estheticians don't deal with general skin. And so I was like, how do I mix and match all these different product lines to really create the specific facial that customized facial that, is the coveted esthetician facial, that we all want to give. And, it still wasn't working. And so I went back to school and learned about cosmetic chemistry, started a product line based around an apothecary approach. And I really just did it because I wanted to be more specific inside my treatment room. And what came out of it was an entire movement, which I just feel so blessed to have this experience of creating an apothecary for estheticians to use that was really based on my clients and the experience of being an esthetician. And so I started a company called Botnia in 2017 after running my own spa for about a decade and developing the line inside of it. And here we are today. We've got, over 200 spa partners across the United States that use our apothecary inside their treatment rooms. We have a farm where we grow our plants. We have our own lab and manufacturing facility. And so it's really turned into, a movement. We do a lot of continuing education for estheticians, because I am an esthetician, because that's where my heart is. And the challenges that estheticians face inside their treatment rooms. And so that's just, to sum it up, that's kind of the long story, but as short as I could make it.
I love it. I always love that loaded question because I'm like, okay, where do you want me to start? We can go really far back. But what I loved about what you said is, number one, everyone, and this is for estheticians, but also, our audience is largely based, probably stylists. We have estheticians, massage therapists, nail people, everybody in here, but there is a large portion of hairstylists in here, right? And what you said about estheticians and wanting to not have something that is for generalized skin. Same with hair, same with our scalp. And I know we had this discussion when we met the first time about the scalp, and we'll dive into that a little bit deeper later. But I think it's so, so important to realize, especially in this day and age, because there is so much available to the consumer, that the more we can get very specific and create these unique experiences and results for our clients, that's really what is one of the things that's going to set us apart. And especially when we look at being able to create something so unique and clean and sustainable, because we know we're on the, impactful salon owners. So we definitely care about how everything is sourced, what type of ingredients, and what's going to happen after the fact, right? The whole sustainability process. And I know that you put a lot of time and care into that. So tell me a little bit about that part of it.
Sustainability is really important. The personal care industry is one of the largest contributors to global waste, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And really thinking about sustainability for me is about ecosystems. And I think salon owners really know ecosystems. Mm-hmm. And thinking about what is the ecosystem that we exist within, right? We can go as broad as the planet Earth, right? And say okay, we exist on this Earth, and these plants, they need a healthy and vibrant environment to be healthy enough to apply to our bodies. Yeah. And to do that, we want to think about packaging. And we want to think about how these plants interact with the skin and pesticides. And, we can go in any direction with sustainability. But as far as packaging goes, one of the things that I think is really important to consider is what is the impact of the packaging on the current system that we have right now, and how can we work within it? And so for me, aluminum was a really powerful material because aluminum works within the ecosystem of current recycling centers all across the globe. There's not a recycling center that won't take aluminum. Interestingly, different plastics, different glasses, they won't always take those specific pieces, especially if there's a lot of, colors on the outside of it, or, decorative art on the packaging. And so for me, when I was thinking about it, I was thinking, okay, aluminum is great because it's infinitely recyclable. It can be recycled in any recycling center. It also is a material that we can ask our guests to use and then toss away and then keep their plastic pumps. And so what we do at Botnia is we have our guests keep their plastic pieces and get as many uses of them as possible, so we reduce plastic waste. Last year, we had over 2,000 pumps that we did not throw away, and that were recycled. And even though that number might seem small, my hope is that we continue to grow that number and make true impact. It's so cool, and it gets our guests to really participate in their own ecosystem of their bathroom, right? And participate in the way that they are contributing to waste. And so it starts great conversations, and, ultimately we are able to cut down on waste and work within a system.
Yeah, I love that. And honestly, the little steps and the little pieces create such a compounded effect over time that one of the things that I talk to my students and hear on the podcast a lot, they're probably tired of me saying it, but small steps create huge impact. And it really is, because the fact is, running your own business, being the esthetician or the stylist, and trying to put in all of these things, we have to really focus on what can be easy for us and what's going to be the most impactful. And just taking those small steps, if all of us just did our part, the compound effect would be much, much greater. And that's kind of the entire purpose of this, right? Is not to be perfect and have every little thing right, but doing our part so that it does have a greater impact.
I agree completely. I think it is about just starting somewhere. And, for me with Botnia, it's really interesting. People think, gosh, like a skincare line, like it seems so big you just have to start somewhere.
Yes.
And I started 22 years ago. This didn't happen overnight. Or however long ago. Gosh, 23 years ago. It didn't happen overnight. It really has been a building process. And every year you chip away at just a small new thing. And, packaging, even something as simple as that, asking your guests to recycle their pump, makes a huge global impact. But also what we've found is so cool that our customers are more engaged and they commit more to our system because they like that they are participating. They like that they have an option. I believe this with all of my heart. It is up to the businesses, and that's, me, the manufacturer of a skincare line, to produce a better option.
Yeah.
It is not up to the consumer, because the consumer, their job is to consume. So we have to give them the right things to consume so they feel empowered. And that is our job, right? And so with Botnia, it feels really good to be like, here's this good thing, these beautiful products, but it's also something that you can feel good about consuming too. And it's an ecosystem.
For sure. And the entire reason I have my podcast is because I believe that it also starts with the salon owner, the spa owner, because consumers come to us and they are there to consume, but we're responsible for what education and what products we're providing for them to consume. And the more that we gain knowledge, we start making those changes and start taking our clients on that journey with us, the more that we can actually promote healthier, less toxic, less wasteful beauty products like yours. But it all starts with taking that first step and starting to look at what is actually in our products. And that brings me to really looking at the Apothecary, which I absolutely love. I think it is so amazing that you take herbalism and mix it with science. So tell me, how do you balance those two worlds, especially in your formulations, to get something that is so effective?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great question. And it's interesting. I didn't start in herbalism. I think there's a lot of people that think like, oh, natural skincare, hippie skincare, it doesn't work. And, they kind of think like, oh, I need the strong stuff. We need the retinols and all these chemicals, they exist in nature, interestingly, and in the right dosage. And so what I've found from working so many years, I've worked in med spas, I've used the lines that most salon owners are using. I've been to all the trade shows. That's where I started. Those are my roots. And so when I went to go make a product line, I didn't throw that in the trash. I took cues from it and I brought those cues into what I was seeing as far as what was healthy for the skin. What was my deep philosophy that I had built around a decade at that time. And it really was, how can we support the human body, the organ itself, in its resilience, not breaking it down, not diminishing it, not necessarily even changing it, because there's a lot of beautiful skin out there. you know? And so how can we help it be more resilient? How can we help it thrive? And ultimately, I looked to nature, but added in what I had learned about science. And when I went and learned about cosmetic chemistry, I was able to take that and apply it specifically to this apothecary approach. And so when we think about kale, for instance, we'll use kale. Kale is one of the ingredients that's in our back bar. And it's interesting because it's not necessarily in herbalism. In herbalism, they're more, especially Western herbalism, they're more enamored with like alkaloid rich plants, things that have really powerful chemical constituents in it that are for internal medicine. But topically, kale is incredible, just like it is internally. It's got vitamin A, right? We know that vitamin A is really powerful for cellular regeneration. It's got vitamin B, which helps with sebaceous secretions and balancing out skin. It's got all sorts of minerals that help bring vitality to the barrier function of your skin. And so we looked at kale and we thought, like, how do we want to apply this to the skin in its most powerful format? And to do that, we created a digestion that you also use inside the back bar by utilizing enzymes to help break down the epithelial cells of the plant itself to make it more bioavailable to the skin. And so, it's through a digestion that we teach our estheticians and salon owners to use that gets us that elevated result of the exposed vitamin A or the vitamin B or whatever chemical constituent we're after. And then we also do have those herbalist plants too, of course. We've got the alkaloid rich, golden seal or arnica, names that you might have heard before, but combined together very specifically in extract format to be applied topically to the skin. And so the big philosophy around the apothecary approach is that you're going to meet your guest's skin exactly where it is in that moment, not for future issues, not for past concerns, but very specifically today in the treatment room. What we've found is that when you are able to pull from an ingredient that matches the thing you're finding is happening for that person, the result is incredible, especially through the lens of elevated science, right? So getting to the chemical constituent of the plant, not just applying the plant because it's romantic. But it is romantic too, to cover your guest in
both worlds.
But these flowers, they have a deep purpose. And, one of the things I say a lot is that we are nature, meaning we are a part of an ecosystem and our bodies assimilate with it. And our bodies assimilate with these plants because it's what feeds our internal body. It's also what feeds our external body. And when we are utilizing more chemical rich lines, what we find is that we have side effects because our bodies aren't meant to assimilate with them. And so what we found, and what I found, the decade before I had Botnia, was that when I was using these very strong ingredients, it was to the detriment of the organ itself. And so we would end up with hyperpigmentation or post-inflammatory or, dryness, extended periods of dryness in the skin, which would ultimately result in some other, cascade effect. And so, when I started working with plants, it wasn't because I was like, I only want to work with plants. It's because plants are what's healthiest for the body. Yeah. And that's why. And so, I took that and I used my lens of science, but it's incredible to see this full circle of coming back to the earth and thinking, gosh, yes, we do actually have everything we need right here in front of us.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
And I think that's the biggest thing is everybody thinks I feel like as humans, we have overcomplicated so much where now we're starting to hear this message of like, just get back to the basics, but get back to the roots, because there is so much in nature that we can utilize, but it's learning how to do that. So, I know that as we're bringing things on into the salon and we're creating these experiences, clients are seeing such a difference because they're starting to see exactly what you said. What's happening with my skin, my hair, my scalp, all of that right now.
Yes.
So many products, and we see this with our regular clients, but also we've seen this huge uptick in like young girls, teenagers wanting to do all of this trendy skincare routines. And it's starting to create problems down the road for them because it's not what they need. And that alone is something that is going to be incredibly powerful. Like any salon owner that's watching this, if you have skincare in your salon, bringing this on and starting to really incorporate not just herbalism, right? That is amazing, but the philosophies of really working with where you're at right now, where your client is right now, is going to make a huge difference. And it is one of the things that I teach my students is really looking at how do you differentiate yourself and how do you support your guest in a different way.
That's right. I mean, I think to your point, for salon owners to think about what is your personal philosophy?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that question is asked enough in school. What is your personal philosophy? Right. And you can come up with your own, but I think if you follow that and you look at what is the result of the thing I'm doing, there's just so much junk out there, y'all. There's so much junk out there. I'm sorry to say that. I hate to be the one to tell you. I think you know it already. And it's really hard to be in integrity with this thing we want to do for humans, which is to make them feel cared for and to care for them and to have a great result doing it. And really, when we think about skin health, scalp health, hair health, all of that is under the umbrella of being specific with that human and having the right tools to do that. And I think it's so cool to get centered with what is your philosophy? What do you believe is true? What are you noticing? And then go for that.
Create an entire vision and mission around that. So
Yes.
with the students that come in, like there's so many different components, right? And I love that your brand hits all of the components. You're looking at cleaner ingredients. You're looking at sustainability. You're also looking at high-end results and really helping the client where they are today. It hits all of those. But I teach a lot of my students to come in and look at like what is the most important to them right now. It's about starting somewhere, right? Is it the sustainability aspect? Is it that it's based in herbs? Is it that it's cleaner ingredients? Or is it that it gives you that result that you're looking for? Wherever that is, if you build something off of that and start to educate your clients in what the difference is, you're going to see massive results for your clients, but you're also going to start to see that loyal client coming back over and over again. And that, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to look at how does this affect our profit line? And that's where you're going to see the profit line keep going up because you've got loyal clients that stay with you because you're giving them the results that they couldn't get somewhere else.
That's right. I will tell you, Jack, that this is so true. I have had the same clients for the last 20 years.
Not surprised.
And I got them at the very beginning of my career, and they have followed me. And I will tell you the secret sauce. It's just that I care about them.
Yes.
It is the only secret sauce there is. It's that I care. It's that I genuinely meet each one of them with total care and compassion, and I see them, and I genuinely just want to care for their bodies. And there is no better thing that you can do inside your business than create a personal philosophy, care for people, and do your best every day to do that and meet them there. And they will come back and they will tell their friends. And then you will have that problem of like, damn, my books are too full. And now I have to hire other people to care for those people that were told to come to my business, you know?
Yes, that is such a good problem to be in.
Yeah. And it happens like that as long as you care for them.
For sure. Because there's the thing is with consumers nowadays, they have so many different options. There is a salon literally in my little town. I looked it up one day and there was like 42 salons.
Whoa.
In my tiny little town. So they literally have an array of salons to go to. So why would they choose me?
Mm-hmm.
What do we do differently? What do we care about? And that's why I've dug in and stood my stance in clean and sustainable beauty. And that is my passion and what I get a chance to teach my clients, my team members, my students, all of that. But it's that one philosophy that runs through and through. And people really stand for that. And you attract the clients that are most aligned with that. Because I will say, people listening, like if you don't know much about herbs or apothecary, like you might be worried about going from the traditional spa product lines to something like this. What support do you have for them? Like if they are struggling with that, like to bring that on?
Oh my gosh, education is everything. I think it's one of the things that most companies actually just don't do enough of. And it's what I found when I went looking for my own products for my spa before I was like, I just need to make my own. And, you know, we do a ton of education. So we start with a course that you would take on how to use the apothecary, all the chemical constituents, how to combine them together. But we have continuing masterclasses throughout the year, plus a 2-day workshop that we offer where we pick a subject and we dive deeply into that subject and we bring on many different educators to really help us give you some deep foundational knowledge. And then once we hold a masterclass or a workshop, they're all recorded. And then you have that as a resource throughout your time with us. And so, you know, we really think about how can we give you the tools you need to succeed? And that goes beyond just skincare, right? It's biology, it's cosmetic chemistry. It's not just here's the new trend, you know, let's talk about acne or whatever. Let's talk about this new product we're launching.
Yeah.
That's not what you actually need to know about to be a successful practitioner. You actually need to have a deeper foundation. And so what we're thinking about at Botnia is, you know, yes, herbalism for sure. We're also thinking about diet. We're thinking about lifestyle changes. We're thinking about acupuncture. Not that we want our practitioners who aren't licensed traditional Chinese medicine doctors to be doing it, but we want them to understand the deep philosophies behind traditional Chinese medicine or, you know, the deep philosophies behind herbalism, because it's in the moment we are with our guest and trying to get the outcome with them that is most tender. And so how can we help them find solution? And it might be through other practitioners. And that's something we like to give foundations on. So, you know, to give you a long drawn out answer, yes, it's all about education. It's all about giving the resources. And to your point earlier, it does feel overwhelming to start something new, no matter what it is, but it's one day at a time. What's so interesting about adult learning is adults don't learn like children. Adults need repetition of information. They also need hands-on touching and feeling and doing the actual thing that they're learning, forming questions, and then coming back with questions about what they're learning. And so we also have a community forum that we hold every month where people who use Botnia come together as a community and they ask questions and they get support around, what's going on in the treatment room so specifically for their practice. And I think it's in that we're creating a revolution in a way. Our community is so rich, but it's because that doesn't really exist anywhere, and it should. And so we're just doing it, we're just doing it.
Yes. So much you said there. The first thing I've been waiting to say is with the, oh shoot, what was I going to say? There was so much. I was so excited. It's getting back to, we talked about getting back to basics and simplicity and back to the roots. But what I love about everything you're doing and the way that you're educating is you're actually getting to the root cause versus just putting a Band-Aid on it. And this is something that I see in, whether you're dealing with skin or you're dealing with hair or you're dealing with anything, we've got to stop just throwing Band-Aids at it. It is not going to help anything down the road. We've got to get to the root cause. And in our consultations at my salon, we're doing hair, right? Or we're doing skin, but we're talking about diet. We're talking about what your day-to-day lifestyle is and how that is going to play a role in what we're doing that day. And not a whole lot of hairstylists or estheticians go that deep because I'm not the expert in your health, hormone health, or what you're putting in your body. But if I can just bring up the facts that I know, because I do a lot of education, if I can bring up the facts to our clients about, hey, maybe we need to look at, you're having all of these things. Maybe you do need to go get your hormones checked. Maybe you go to a naturopath doctor and get a hormone panel and look at that. I don't know the first thing about that. Mm-hmm. But clients don't think to put skin or hair problems to their hormones, what they're eating, if they've been sick, did they have a major surgery? All of that affects your hair, your skin, and your scalp. And just by being able to communicate that with them, that immediately shows them that it's not just about you giving me money for me to do your hair or giving me money to, take care of your skin. This is deeper relationship building that builds trust and also gets to the root cause of it. Even if you're not the expert, you're able to give them enough education to find that expert.
That is so right. We just did a whole workshop on menopause and perimenopause. And what was so powerful was that, one of the first signs of perimenopause is in the skin and hair, right?
Yes.
And so being able to be that first person to help guide somebody who's going through what I hope all women get to go through, which is menopause, right? Like it's a life transition. It's our second spring. So many beautiful things happen. But there's so few people talking about it, including people's general practitioners, that even just saying oh, I'm noticing some changes in your hair. It seems more brittle, or I'm noticing some changes in your skin. Or I'm noticing, when you're telling me about your lifestyle, you're not sleeping through the night anymore. These are all signs that, you might want to go have a hormone panel or talk to your GP. You don't have to diagnose them with anything. In fact, don't. It's not our lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that moment of care that we get to show our guests and say oh, I care for you. And have you thought of this other thing? And let me pull out my Rolodex and share my person with you, and that means so much to that client.
Yep.
And so that's something that I think is really underutilized. And also it's that next level of care. Again, that's how we retain our clients, that we're able to bring. And that's why being a holistic salon and thinking holistically about your ecosystems, it's beautiful, and your community, and they will refer back to you. Just so y'all know, my best referrals are my acupuncturist and my naturopath. And, they're like, oh yeah, Justine from Botnia, go to her, and it's really because I'm like, do you know Anne at the garden? Go to her. And it just happens that way.
Oh, for sure. It's a beautiful way to create that community in your location, no matter where you're at. It does not matter whether you're in a big city or not. And one of the things that I teach my students in the academy is how to create those relationships and that circle of businesses that think the way that you do, that offer unique services that align with your business, and not only create those relationships, but create that. We literally have an online website directory where we give all of our clients clean, sustainable, and holistic, like local and, further away products and services where they can go in and really know that it is aligned. If they're aligned with our value, these businesses, products are aligned with our value as well. So it's a beautiful relationship building and just a way to, give back in so many different ways to your clients and to other businesses and enrich that type of education.
Oh, I love that so
It's so
much. That
fun.
is so cool that you all are learning how to do that and promoting that. And I think what people want right now, and I just see this so clearly, is they want something that's real. They want something that's real. They want something that's good. They want to support their community. They're done with the marketing. We've all been marketed to death.
So much.
They want something that's true, and that's beautiful, because there's nothing more true than a relationship that you covet and hold and vet and care for inside your community. That's just beautiful.
And that is why your product line and the community that you have built, because that education is so important, being able to learn deeper and really learn the ins and outs of why they're using what they're using and how to continue to get better results for the clients and build that relationship. So, I mean, I really could just talk to you for hours because I love what you're doing so much.
Yeah.
So tell everyone how we can get in contact with you, where to follow you if they're interested in this, which I have to drop a little thing here because I really have to appreciate how you run your business. The one thing that when I was interested in signing up and learning more, you hopped on a call with me,
Yeah.
which was phenomenal. That is that level of care you're talking about, right? So you're not just telling your estheticians to do this. You're living that not only in your salon, but you're living that in your business. And the level of care that you give is absolutely top notch. I just had to throw that in there because when you walk the walk and you talk the talk, that is a business that actually cares and is doing what they say they're doing.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I think it's so important, for us, and I will just say this before we end, the relationship of the person who makes your product that you apply to your guest's skin, it is such a two-way relationship, and it should be.
Yeah.
On the other side, you're investing in the product that you're using on your guest every day, and your name stands behind that. And if the company you use doesn't take that as seriously as we do, then you feel that. And it is such a huge responsibility for me at Botnia to hold the weight of caring for your guests. My gosh, what an honor, but what a weight to carry. And for me, what's so important is that it speaks to your form of healing. It speaks to the kind of business you want to run. It speaks to your core values. And that's what I look for in a partner. And for us, we have a lot of people that reach out to us for wholesale accounts. The one thing that is tough for us is how do we scale and not lose our center? Yeah. And so we can't say yes to every account. But if we don't say yes to every account, it doesn't mean we won't say yes to them in the future.
Yes.
And that is because we are looking for people that have that deep philosophy, that are ready for this kind of line, that are deeply connected to this approach of holistic care. But we're also thinking about how do we change the industry at large? How do we grow more plants? How do we take on more partnerships? And so, it is something that we're constantly evolving and changing and trying to keep up with as we grow.
Yeah. Well, it's just like we have the problem with having so many clients because we've built that trust.
Yes.
And we are so busy with clients that we have to hire on new people. The same thing with your business. You're going to have to evolve and grow and see how that works. But never lose that core value, whether you're a salon or you're a product brand. Bringing that along with you and tying that all together will help build the trust and make sure that you continue to see that success down the road. And when you hopped on that call with me, it meant so much as a salon owner, because I've dealt with so many products where they're just like, well, go to the website and take a look. Like, all the information's there. It's like,
I know.
Yeah, but I have questions. Like, and I want to learn more about the brand, because anything that I bring into my salon has to pass all of the 7 points that I have in my not branding, but in my core philosophy. Yeah, all of those value points have to hit before I even consider bringing the brand in. And I just wanted to applaud you and say thank you for doing that.
It is so important. And I so appreciate that you have those core values and that is the lens that you look through. And I feel that same way. I've grown my entire business that way. And what's so cool is that if you grow your business that way, you get to sleep really good. You just get to have that warm, fuzzy feeling of being surrounded by the people you want to be surrounded by. And so I just think, because it speaks to who you are, right? And it's what makes your business so special. And it's what we all deserve. And more connection, more talking, more questions. You should be asking questions. You should ask every single question that matters to you in your practice of every company that you stand behind. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And we don't have time to get in. I mean, seriously, I feel like we should just have a part 2. But when you're looking at those and you have those core values that I teach my students to set up the same way, right? To have that lens that are non-negotiables.
Yes.
This also helps when product lines are aligned like yours. It helps you sleep well at night, but you also know that you're not going into a product line that is greenwashed, that is, on the surface saying one thing, but beneath the layers doing something completely different. And it's so important to have those systems set up so that you're asking the right questions, you're going really deep, and you're protecting yourself. I mean, we're not 100% protected ever, because, we're not, but you start to learn how to notice the red flags of greenwashed businesses, because it is so trendy right now to be clean or sustainable. But a lot of things can just slap a label on it and they say that they are, but then under the surface, they're really not doing things the way that they say. So that's
Yeah.
That's a
And
big
it's
one.
up to you. It's up to you to do that.
Yes.
And I agree. I think there could be a whole second conversation we have about greenwashing, because let me just not get on that bandwagon right now. But it is really important that you know your values and you ask those questions and start there. Just start there. Just outline, and it doesn't have to be, 50 values.
No.
I have 8, which sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, too many values, but they all feel really special and important.
Yeah.
And, you get to, again, look through that lens, and it's just such a joy to be here, to be in community with you, be in community with your salon owners today, be like with this group of people that are making big waves and changes inside our industry. We need it. We deserve it.
Yes.
Guests deserve it too. And so that's so cool. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Well, thank you for being on here. We'll definitely have to talk about a whole nother second, part 2. And in the meantime, tell everyone where we can find you and continue this conversation.
It's Botnia, Botnia skincare.com. And if you're interested in applying for a wholesale account, you can go to our apply to be a wholesaler part of our website and apply right there. And you can find us on Instagram too. And the name is Botnia. It's a made up name. So people say it lots of different ways, but for us, what it means is, it means a land of plants. And I just am so excited to have had this opportunity. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much for being here and for the amazing work and the movement that you have created. Much appreciated. Thank you everyone for listening and for hanging in here with us. Please follow Botnia, follow and ask questions, join in and learn more about it. And make sure you comment below or comment on our socials. Like, what did you take from this? And what stood out to you from this episode? And what are you excited about? So thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next episode.